This mutation is called Experimental Artillery, and we have 3 mutators active. We have Photon Overload, Long Range, and Laser Drill. So there'll be a lot of harass from Amon's units and whatnot. Let's have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. We have the unit attack speed for Alarak and Empower Me duration, and we have 6 points into the structure overcharge, and we have 8 points into the Chrono Boost mastery over there. Personally, I would have gone more for the Overcharge mastery. Overcharge is very, very useful, especially when you want to try and clear out your expansion, and it can be used aggressively as well. But I'll actually talk a little bit more about why the Chrono Boost mastery has been selected over here. We have Swann with a concentrated beam and combat drop. There's a 22-8 split over there. This split is usually very ideal if you want to clear out attack waves. It's one of the more optimal widths of the concentrated beam that is required here. We have the Immortality Protocol selection over here for Swann, which means you'll be focusing more on a unit-centric build rather than a static defense build. And then we finally have the Vespine drone cost compared to the drill upgrade. We have a 20-10 split over there. Again, this is mostly a matter of preference. If you prefer to use your drill aggressively during the early stages of the game, then going to the drill upgrade mastery will be a little bit better. So a small note about the Chrono Boost mastery over here. It turns out that all Protoss commanders, as of the recent patch, can Chrono Boost buildings that are in construction. So what you can do is put a building down and then Chrono Boost the building. I don't know if Alarak is going to do that in this stage of the game, but you can Chrono Boost the building that's under construction and the building will build faster. So you can actually climb up the tech tree significantly faster than some of the other commanders, especially if you're not using Chrono Boost in the way that commanders would normally use it. But yeah, mostly these mutators are going to be very, very aggressive mutators, very annoying mutators to deal with when you are pushing into enemy bases, especially without laser drill. One thing that you'll probably want to do on this map is try and spawn camp the laser drill to make sure that as soon as it comes up, it goes down again, because the laser drill does not die permanently. If you destroy it, there is a 2-minute countdown before it respawns, so you can kind of spawn camp it over here. So production-wise, Swann is going up for some siege tanks, and he's already gotten his starport out to try and get some Hercules and get some mobility on these siege tanks. First attack wave is spawning from the top side and is making its way down towards the Allies' base. So we have 3 overcharges ready for Alarak, and we have a combat drop that goes down. Overcharge comes down as well on one of the structures is completing, and we can see that the enemy composition is air Terran. Combat drop gets sent down here now, and we'll start to work away at this bunker. As you can see, the overcharge over there does get a little bit annoying and starts to deal a lot of damage unless you clear these structures relatively quickly. And Alarak and the combat drop will continue to work away here and pick up some of the parts to push that timer a little bit forward. Let's have a look at the production here. Alarak is getting Blink for his Stalker, so he'll be going for a Mass Slayer build here. And Swann is already getting his Hercules out and 2 more siege tanks. Once the Hercules is out, these siege tanks will have significantly more mobility, and they will be able to help Alarak clear some of the structures, because Alarak does seem to struggle a little bit in the early game with clearing structures. And he's not going to be struggling as much because he is going for a Slayer build. If he was doing mostly an Ascendant build, which is one of the more popular builds for Alarak, he does end up struggling with structure clearing capabilities. But this Alarak will not have a problem as soon as he has some more Slayers out. As you can see, he already has a total of 7 Slayers. We have 5 siege tanks and a Hercules Ray. These siege tanks are more than enough to start clearing the enemy bases, and this Hercules now is going to be accompanying Alarak and start shelling from the enemy units behind. This laser drill, as you can see, is just poking away at Alarak, and anytime the units have range, vision range, the laser drill has vision as well. So that causes a lot of problems for especially commanders like Alarak, who tends to get focused far down by the laser drill. This is also why you want to end up clearing the laser drill as quickly as possible and pushing into the enemy bases. So over here, expansion has been cleared. Empower Me with Alarak, very, very useful. His mech units provide a 2 time supply cost benefit to Alarak for Empower Me, so very, very useful. There is an attack wave over here, and Swann tactical jumps his Hercules over. Focus fires down the Banshee with his laser drill, and a little bit of kiting there with because the Banshee's attack is a projectile. Overcharge also comes down, but that was somewhat unnecessary to have those overcharges there. Swann's siege tanks were more than enough to be able to clear that attack wave. And now the Balius has spawned, giving Swann a little bit of vision on that bunker. Bunker goes down, and now the Marines get harassed with laser drill over there for Swann. Swann is getting his concentrated beam upgrade right now for his laser drill, very important. He's also getting the barrier upgrade for his science vessels, so they can put a temporary barrier on Swann's units in case they get focus fired down by the laser drill. And as you can see over here, siege tanks get dropped and instantly take out whatever structures are left on that side. Production-wise, we have 2 forges coming up for Alarak, and the level 1 attack upgrades as well coming up for Swann. And unit-wise, Alarak already has 13 Slayers out and 2 Havocs, so he has his detection and he has his damage buffs as well, and he's going to start pushing into this enemy base. As you can see over here, there is some focus fire down here by the laser drill, but again, Alarak is pretty much okay with this. A Seeker missile comes down, actually takes out one of the Havocs. What happened to the other Havoc? I'm not sure where the Havoc is. I think the Havoc is probably in the base there. But Alarak clears up this side now. And he basically has just one more jump to take before he can take out this drill. It's this area over here. So he can just push out from here and clear out that area with a laser drill. Siege tanks are coming down on to try and take out this bonus objective here. But I do not believe there will be enough DPS here. The siege tanks are a little bit further away. But Swann does not really want to drop into this side just in case he aggroes some of the units there. Units do have long range active, which means they have increased vision range and increased attack range. And one of the worst things that can happen is if you jump your siege tanks in there and you lose your Hercules and then you lose your siege tanks, which can be really, really nasty. Swann repositions his siege tanks to try and take the bonus objective, but yeah, there's not enough DPS to clear that objective. But Alarak is just going ahead and clearing the rest of this mission here, just picking up the parts. Combat Drogue goes down to try and intercept this attack wave. Concentrated Beam comes out and just instantly take out most of the attack wave. There are 2 Vikings left from that wave, but mostly cleared up, so that was an overall win there for Swann. Production-wise, Alarak is just getting his upgrades right now. Swann is making another Hercules over there, and the goal for this extra Hercules, I believe, will be to get vision of attack waves so he can use his concentrated beam over and clear the side. To clear attack waves as soon as they spawn. Make it a little bit easier so you don't have to deal with it. The commanders are now ignoring this hybrid over here, and this is a little strategy that you can do when you're up on when you're up against mutators, or if you're up and you're trying to carry someone. If you ignore this hybrid and you go ahead and you pick up parts on the map, the timer is not available over here because the co-op overlay does not actually show that the interface here. But if you go and pick up parts for the Balius, as soon as you hit 70 additional parts that are collected while this hybrid is up, it'll freeze the timer, and then you have enough time to go and clear the rest of the mission. And as soon as you're done, then just go ahead and kill the hybrid off, and then the other hybrid will spawn instantly. And you'll see this happen now in this mission. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the timer because the user interface does not actually allow that to happen. But you will see it at some point. Alarak does end up getting hammered by that enemy base over there. The science vessel gets rallied and focused down by the laser drill. But because now these things don't have vision, the laser drill can come up and clear the rest of this stuff. This laser drill is parked over here, so the commanders will want to try and clear whatever's left. Units lost, 20 Slayers went down, 1 science vessel, and 5 Goliaths over there. So Swann is kind of okay, but Alarak has somehow gotten smashed by that side. So Swann combines his army with Alarak, and they want to push into this side to try and spawn gam this laser drill. This laser drill has caused enough havoc. So it's finally considered unacceptable over there. Swann starts to rally his small army over here, but those siege tanks deal a lot of damage, so they'll be able to clear this side out. The siege tanks start shelling away on this laser drill, and this laser drill will eventually go down. That Goliath actually has very little HP left, but oh, there goes the Goliath. That siege tank is, I believe, unsieged, so it must have been like respawned through Immortality Protocol, but it's going to just go down now, and this overcharge is probably going to end up killing this laser drill. But the drill has gone down now, and Swann is going to put some static defense here, some blaster abilities to try and spawn camp this attack wave. So I believe there was a concentrated beam in that whole fiasco that went down, and yeah, as you can see, this attack wave only has 3 Vikings now. So yeah, Swann's laser drill essentially just one-shot that entire attack wave, and we have a bunch of SCVs on this side that are going to build some blaster abilities to spawn camp. Units lost wise, we have 1. Yeah, so that was probably the Hercules that went down in the attempt to try and kill off that attack wave here. Alarak has died once in that. Sorry, that was the unit zone tab. Never mind. We have 7 siege tanks and 13 Goliaths for Swann, which is sufficient here for this. Now we have the next bonus objective that spawned, and there should be enough DPS here to take out the tankers here for this bonus objective drain. We do not have the Maelstrom rounds upgrade for the Swann siege tanks, so Swann is kind of struggling in terms of mineral income to be able to afford that upgrade. Maelstrom rounds is a really good upgrade for the siege tanks, can increase the burst damage a lot, but yeah, as you can see, the laser drill has spawned right now, and that one SCV has decided, you know what, I'm not going to build a blaster billy, I'm just going to go and attack that drill. So it's a brave SCV, that good. But yes, blaster billies on this side, they are spawn camping this laser drill now, so that laser drill is not going to be dealing a lot of damage, and it'll allow the commanders to push through and push into enemy bases without getting harassed by that drill, because that drill actually deals an increased amount of damage as it deals damage to the same unit. So, you know, I don't know the exact numbers, but for the first 5 seconds it deals a small amount of DPS to the unit, and as time progresses, it transitions up 3 stages. And attack wave spawns over here, and there are a lot of Banshees and Liberators that have just instantly taken out this a lot of the defenses on this side. Combat drop does come down to try and bait some of the Liberators and stuff, but these Banshees have just dealt a lot of damage on this side and just taken out the defenses here. Most of these Banshees go down with a concentrated beam, but these combat drops are not able to detect the cloaked units over there, which is somewhat problematic. So what's usually done now is that the combat drop has been put on hold position, just so that this Banshee just stays put and doesn't end up harassing some of the other stuff there. So they're going to deal with that. Swann's going to be dealing with that in just a little bit. The commanders now are going to start working to kill off this hybrid over here. There should be enough DPS on that side. Basically what the plan is now is just wait for the Banshees to run out of cloak, because unfortunately there's not very many things over there. So the Banshee comes out of cloak now, laser drill gets retargeted and takes out that Banshee. And one Banshee was a hero Banshee there, but yeah. Hybrid now is going to get attacked by the commanders, and yeah, this hybrid will go down relatively quickly. There is this hybrid now has like grid ability, which is kind of annoying. It does deal a lot of DPS, so you gotta be careful. You gotta maneuver your army around this little grid pattern shaped thing over here. But as you can see, this hybrid has died. This next hybrid has instantly been triggered. So it means that the commanders had enough parts to trigger the other hybrid, which means in turn that the timer has actually stopped. So this is one thing that you can do on this mission. If you find that you're a little bit rushed, just ignore the hybrid. Killing the hybrid does not actually give you more time on the timer, so feel free to ignore that. The only thing that gives you extra time is collecting the boxes and the parts on the map. So Alarak with the Empower Me starts to push through here and clear this enemy base on this side. Essentially cleared over here without any serious difficulty here. A pulse cannon comes down to deal with the attack wave, but at the same time Alarak also summons Death Fleet, so Death Fleet just spawns over here and they're like, what happened? There's nothing over here. Why did you call me? I think there are a bunch of battle cruisers that are working their way over here, so Alarak will probably want to try and find a way of dealing with this. Alarak uses his recall ability from his Death Fleet, so his Death Fleet finally realized what their purpose is, just to try and deal with these battle cruisers here.
Your ally has entered the fray. Stand as one.
And Swann is now over here to try and take out this next hybrid on this side. So drill spawns, instantly gets spawn camped, one shot by the blaster abilities on this side, and all is good. Allies do not now have to deal with laser drill, and hopefully there'll be no attack waves on that side anymore. Hybrid spawns on this side, pops out of his cell, and you can see the amount of damage that's being dealt here by Swann's siege tanks and its Goliaths combined with the Slayers. Slayers can deal a lot of damage, especially when they have their blink ability, and they're relatively resilient, especially with their phasing armor upgrade. It allows them to take a lot more damage than they would normally do. Alarak decides to push into this side again. As you can see, one blink does a lot of damage, especially the armored unit. Seeker Missile gets focused on one of the Slayers. Slayer does blink back, but again, phasing armor just coming in to save these Slayers. Swann is over here just to clean up whatever's left of the enemy bases, and he's a little bit of micro on these siege tanks to try and keep these siege tanks alive, because these science vessels are doing their best to try and keep these siege tanks alive, but there is a lot of DPS, especially from the Photon overload, and sometimes the laser drill pokes that happens on this. This one decided, you know what, I'm just going to park my army over here, let these science vessels just heal up my siege tanks. And so what's going to happen over here now is, because this laser drill is close to spawning, Swann's decide, you know what, I'm just going to spawn camp this laser drill, and then move my army back up to the top to end up clearing. So instantly this laser drill spawns and just goes down. So this laser drill had about like 3 or 4 seconds of DPS before it died. So that is the magic of spawn camping. And this is why you should always try and aim to spawn camp every single time you play Co-op. And now Alarak is good to go. He is ready to go and push into this last enemy base. This base is relatively well entrenched, so but he does have his Empower Me available off cooldown, so he should have no problems with it. He doesn't have his Death Lead yet. It's still on a 130-second cooldown, but Swann's mech units over here as well is going to help complement Alarak's army. There is an attack wave that has spawned on this side, and this thing should aggro the allies' army. There we go. So it initially what it does is it gets sent an attack command to the player's base, but then it gets changed and it says, you know what, go and attack the allies' army instead. A concentrated beam comes down, but Alarak has Gas's Destruction Wave, splitting the army in two, causing the concentrated beam to completely miss its target over there. But the battlecruisers and combined with Swann's army is more than enough to deal damage to this. Combat drop comes down to draw some aggro and get some high ground vision on this side. And Alarak casts his Empower Me right now, so Swann is just going to try and stay next to Alarak over here. Because Alarak is just going to be one-shotting everything. By the time Swann unloads the siege tanks and stuff, everything's just going to be dead. Hercules goes down. I believe Swann may have A-clicked his Hercules over there. So those siege tanks are like somewhat stranded. But there is a hero tactical jump on some of the Hercules over there to pick up these things again. You have binged too much. You have binged too much. I'm just going to hide that text now.
Upgrade complete. Make use of this surge in potential.
So Alarak essentially has cleared the entire enemy base with just Empower Me, so it's a really, really powerful ability. Hybrid has spawned on there. Swann moves his army on away from the stasis and drops down his siege tanks now to start shelling away at the Hybrid. General Davis just runs away because she is a coward and leaves the commanders to deal with the Hybrid over here. But combined with Alarak Slayers and Swann's siege tanks and Goliaths, the Hybrid has no match, and that is GG.